Welcome to the Breaking 90 podcast, where we talk about all things sustainable fat loss. We take people on 90-day journeys to creating fat loss forever. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Breaking 90 podcast. I'm back again with my co-host, Kelly Solo, and we are here bringing you guys another topic. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Kelly, what's up?
I wanted to ask you, what have you been up to? You're a busy guy. Talk to me about what's going on.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So a couple things. We decided to buy a house, sell our house, and that all happened in probably a 2-week span. We've been casually looking at different houses. So our main goal was to get closer to a school system for Emerson. Currently the house we live in is about 5 kilometers from his school, which isn't a huge deal, but the road system that it takes to get there is not a road system I would ever be comfortable with him riding his bike on or anything. And so that was important to me, to get into a neighborhood that he could be closer to the school and community centers and trail systems. So some of those different things that I look for in a neighborhood. So we found the house that we wanted, and the way the market's moving now, we put an offer, and in like 2 days we had that house. And then like 2 days later, we painted our house, prepped it, showed it, and then a day later sold. So like within a 2-week period, we went from casually looking to all of that happening. And it was wild. So that's what's been going on in my world. That's why I've been busy.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been an exciting journey, and the move will be exciting. All of it's exciting. So thank you. So what I have for us for a topic today is I want to dig a little bit into the why and the importance of the why on this journey, and asking ourselves the why. And I know this is a topic that you're really good at and something you've talked about a lot with our members. So I think often when people reach out, they come to us with the idea that they like the idea that we talk about losing 15 pounds in 90 days. They like that. And they're like, yeah, I want to lose 15 pounds. And to me, that is not a deep enough why to carry you through. Mm-hmm. So that's where I don't care where this topic goes. It doesn't need to be a long conversation, but I think it's important to get people thinking about this, because if you're just come into a journey like this with the idea that you want to lose some weight, you probably won't be successful without digging deeper into that why.
Yeah, you have to have a certain personality of, go-getter, accomplish things. Like, it has to just be very much ingrained in who you are. If you don't have a bigger why, that you're just someone who sets a goal and meets it, right? And there are people like that. They don't have to be emotionally attached to a why. But for the majority of us out there, we really do, especially after the first 5 pounds.
Yeah. And Kelly says that first 5 pounds because what typically happens is people lose a bunch of water weight early on, and the first 5 pounds are the easiest 5 pounds to lose. Mm. So yes, I agree. You for most people, there does need to be a deeper reason. Like, is losing 15 pounds actually going to solve your problem? Is it actually going to make you happy when you get there? Or is there something else that you are trying to change or achieve or accomplish? Right. Yeah. I'm going to make a note of where I want to take this, but we don't need to get there yet. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to start just by saying, when someone approaches me and says, well, I want to lose 15 pounds, we'll just choose this number for consistency purposes. And I say, why? If their answer is, oh, well, because I'm overweight. Okay, that's not enough, right? Like, we're not emotionally attached to that as a whole. And some people might say, absolutely, yes, I am, Kelly. Don't you dare say that. But there is something underneath the being overweight that means something more to you than just the simple fact that we are overweight, however we define that, right? So this is where I love to dig in with really calibrated questions to say, okay, well, what does overweight mean to you for your lifestyle? Right? What is it limiting you from either doing or engaging in that is meaningful to you? Right?
Love it. Yeah, I love that question you just asked. That's a question that I'll often use. Okay, so is there anything that you haven't been able to do that you want to be able to do? Is there anything that you wouldn't let yourself do that you would like to be able to do?
Mhm.
Because that's digging into exactly what you said there. That's taking it one step further. That's more than just a number on the scale. Like, is that number on the scale actually stopping you from doing anything that you want to do?
Yeah, it's great. And I think we'll probably end up rewording each other's questions because they're going to get to the heart of the matter, right? This is the direction that we're both trying to head in. I will specifically ask, okay, what feeling are you hoping for? Right? Because it all comes down to what we feel about ourselves and our belief systems about ourselves. So by losing weight, what feeling are you hoping to achieve? And if they have a hard time answering that question, I will say, okay, hit the pause button for a second. What feeling are you hoping to avoid? Right? Because usually
Mm,
we can get to the bottom of the feeling that matters most by asking, achieving, or avoiding, right? One of them is more obvious than the other to any individual.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. It sometimes you have to look at the negative to find the positive too. Like, instead of saying what is the best thing about getting to the goal, well,
What's
what
the
is the
stake?
best thing of what's that?
What's the stake? Like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
is at stake if I don't do this thing?
Yeah. What is the worst thing about staying the same? Flip that around even. What is the best thing about staying the same?
Yeah.
Right? There's so many different directions you can take that, but you have to ask these questions in order to determine why that 15 pounds is important to you. In
Mhm.
my opinion, that 15 pounds, that number on the scale is it might carry you through in the short term, like you said, a quick fix, a 30-day challenge or something like that. But like, if you want to make this a lifelong sustainable thing, you need to have, why am I doing this? Why is it important to me? Is this important to me, or is it important to the people around me?
Yeah.
Because honestly, it has to be in part for you, or that also won't likely carry you for long enough.
Yeah. And you know what? When they respond that it's for someone else, we can still dig into that, right? I want to lose weight for my partner. A lot of people will say something like that. Well, there's an element there that is for yourself because you want to feel a certain way around your partner or
For
with your
sure.
partner in whatever way you're imagining engaging, right? So we can always tie it back to what is the feeling you're experiencing within your life or lifestyle that is
Mm.
motivating you to desire this goal. One of the really cool things, and I'm not sure if this is the direction that you want to go in, is that
I don't
sometimes
have a direction.
okay, great. Sometimes we can actually dig in such a creative way that we find out that the number, the weight itself, doesn't actually even matter. I think
Oh,
this is really
honestly, I
cool.
think almost every person I talk to is.
Yeah, because I know for myself, when I started, it was like, okay, well, I want to lose, 10 to 15 pounds because I was really seeking a feeling of lightness. I wanted that get up and go energy. So light was the feeling I was fixated on. And then it started dawning on me as I was doing more workouts like, well, I really like the bulk and the muscle that's happening in my legs. If the number on the scale didn't shift because I really ended up with defined muscles or muscles that could carry me to give me that feeling of lightness in the get up and go energy, I don't actually care what the scale says. I'll put
Yeah.
I'll put the weight on, quote unquote, if it's the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do like to talk numbers with people because I think that it gives some context, and there's a big difference between losing 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 100 pounds. Like there's big differences in everybody's journey, so it gives us an idea of where we need to go and want to go. But the truth is, nobody's gonna give a shit if they lose 10 pounds and feel amazing, or if they lose 15 pounds and still don't feel great. They're not gonna care what that number on the scale says.
Exactly.
Cool. Really good points. So then, from there, I think you need to have that point of reflection, regardless of what you decide. But what is it going to? So once I get there, I want to lose the 15 pounds. Once I get there, what is that going to change for me? What am I 15 pounds lighter going to do differently, feel differently, live differently? Like what about that will change for me? I think that's an important thing to reflect on. And then I know we kind of dug into that, but like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we could talk about sustainability, because I think about if I want to engage in a different lifestyle right now in terms of nutrition and fitness to get myself across the finish line of a certain weight loss number, which is a great, objective number. That's fantastic. So when I cross that finish line, do I want to maintain that lifestyle? Right? Like, is the lifestyle itself going to make me feel the way I want to feel? Is it going to
Yeah.
create happiness on a day-to-day basis, maintaining what I've just achieved?
Mm. Yeah, that honestly, like, this could easily circle into a whole nother episode, but one, like, getting to the goal, celebrating the goal, feeling that sense of accomplishment, and making sure that you're checking in with yourself to say, is this where I wanted to go? Is this still where I want to go? Does this need to change? I know this is something that, like, we don't have to dig too deep into, but the one thing I want to mention, and you've mentioned this nicely to the membership before, is you have to celebrate the win.
Oh, yeah.
Or else it's just going to be like, okay, there's the 15, what's next? Okay, there's this. What's next? What's next? What's next? And there's a lot of people that are goal oriented like that, that just accomplish it, go for the next one, accomplish it, go to the next one. Well, you have to celebrate those wins,
Yeah.
or else what is the point in doing this?
Well, and it's burnout, right? Like, I always illustrate it with this analogy of like running a marathon. If you run a marathon, you cross the finish line, what's the first thing that happens? People swarm to celebrate you. They put, that blanket of recovery on you. They're giving you water, they're replenishing you. And that's what celebration really is all about. If I cross a marathon finish line and go, okay, guys, where's the next finish line? Like, your body can't even process what it just did.
It honestly kind of reminds me of what we talked about in the last episode too, talking about having a plan after accomplishment, right? Because you can get to that finish line and be like, oh, I didn't really think about what happens now that I got here.
Yep.
Okay, I'm done. And then you start reverting back to some of those old habits that you worked on changing for the time being to get to that goal. So I think at multiple points throughout that journey, you need to sit down with yourself and say, okay, what will the next steps look like? Is my why still as strong? Do I still, because if 15 pounds is the goal, and we've dug into that, and that is something you want to accomplish, well, then it's like every couple pounds, every 5 pounds or 3 pounds, you need to sit down. Is my why still as strong? Do I still want the same things? Am I still headed in this direction? What will that look like once I get there? Asking these things at multiple intervals rather than just like kicking in that door after 15 pounds and be like, what's here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's so great. I love, I'm a big advocate for check-ins, and I think daily check-ins are really important too, like self, to ask and answer all of the questions that you just talked about.
Mm-hmm. It's a huge part of what I do with people before they come into our program, and I didn't, when I first started this program, I didn't do that process because I wasn't really aware of it. And I've obviously grown as a coach and learned lots of things. Mm-hmm. But people would be like, hey, Alex, I want to work with you. And I'd be like, okay, come on, let's do this. And we would start discovering these things way too far down the road. Yeah. Right. So now I try to get ahead of it by having these conversations with people before we even entertain the idea of working together. So we jump on a call, we dig into all of this together, figure out why it makes sense, and if it still makes sense, and if what Breaking 90 offers and what you're looking for are in line with one another, then we start our journey together.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case, because it isn't necessarily going to be the perfect fit for every person, and that's fine. But it's good to address that before we get into this journey, and we're just like, oh man, this 15 pounds.
You know what? Like, kudos to you for the way that you've structured this. And I think for anyone who's listening, going like, oh, that's nice. like you're talking about a business with integrity, right? So if someone's out there thinking about hiring a coach and just sort of listening to see, good advice for health and fitness, you've just talked about a good interview process when people are looking to hire. Is the company going to actually have integrity to say, hey, what you're trying to achieve is fantastic for you. It's not what we focus on. It's not our passion. Go find your people. Or are they actually going to dig into the right questions, figure out your why, and say, hey, we're in alignment. We could really help you.
Yeah, I don't want to say I do it all the time, but it does happen often enough. The way that we've set up, I mean, with the marketing that we put out there and the social media posts we put out there and the people who know us, they kind of have an idea of what we do and what we offer, the people who listen to this podcast. But it still happens that people get on that call and very quickly we identify, you know what, this isn't the right fit. But I have tons of resources. I know hundreds of other coaches. I know I've got books, I've got courses. Like, I'll point you in a good direction, but I'm not going to waste either one of our time if it's not going to be a good fit, because both of us are going to leave unhappy. So you can only really truly discover that through digging into this why. Because if somebody says, I want to lose 15 pounds, well, then they should for sure have this conversation with us, but that might not mean that it's the right fit.
Yeah. Well, you're at the very least, you're educating people to approach and say, hey, I dug into my why. I'm in your chair. Can we talk and see if this works? I think that's really cool.
I don't think there's too many people that leave that call, regardless if they decide to work with us or not. I don't think there's too many people that leave that call and regret taking the time to have that call, because it's a huge, huge eye opener for most people. At the end, they're like, you've given me a lot to work on, regardless of what my next steps are.
Hey, and that's great added value. Good for you.
And that's part of what you do now on this team, right? Is you take it one step further. The people who do choose to work with us, they come into our program. You bring these conversations back full circle for these people so that they can constantly work on the mindset portion of this game too, because it's not just nutrition and fitness. There's so many different branches to health. So when we can bring it back full circle and dig into that mindset related stuff, it really completes the whole journey for people.
Thank you.
So good job.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to go over today. I think we've touched on everything I wanted to cover, but as always, if people want us to dig in further, have questions about any of this, or want to set up a call with me, reach out by all means. I always love to talk and have the chat. Send us a message, ask questions. That's what we're here for. We want you to get your information from us if you think it's the right information for you, rather than feeling lost on a journey you don't need to feel lost on.
Yeah.
Can I put you on the spot for a golden nugget, something to leave them with?
Yeah, I would like to do a kitchen tip. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, so this is something that really stuck with me back in my university days. I was studying psychology and more into the biology part of psychology. You kind of brought this up with your last golden nugget and kitchen tip last episode when you made a really simple lunch, right? You did your patties on a bed of lettuce with some mustard. It was extremely simple. One of the things that stuck with me is that when we complicate our meals and we add too many flavors, biologically, things are triggered in our body to want more. Right? So we end up with actually more cravings and wanting to satisfy different flavors. When we keep our meals really nice and simple, the body doesn't trigger that in the same way. And so we can actually leave a meal feeling satiated rather than feeling like I want more helpings, in spite of the fact that my stomach is not saying I'm hungry. So if people are looking to kind of curb those cravings, simplifying your meals and its flavors is actually one of the best places to start. Not to mention with a busy lifestyle, which is, who we're hopefully talking to, simplifying is the way to go anyway.
It's really interesting because if you dig into a lot of high profile individuals or millionaires or business owners, like people who are crushing it on the business side of things, if you dig into what their day-to-day routine looks like, their breakfast and lunch are so simple. A lot of them eat the identical breakfast and lunch every single day because it reduces that decision fatigue. And it's all of these things you're saying. And I know that sounds boring for a lot of people, but then like take the opportunity to explore something new at dinner time, or on a day when you're exploring something new for breakfast, then go to something simple for dinner. It doesn't always need to be new, exciting, new, exciting, new, exciting. You're going to burn yourself out.
Well, and the thing is, it doesn't even have to be about new or exciting. It could just be focusing on one thing, right? So if what you were focusing on was the accent of the mustard on yours, that's great. That's one flavor that you were giving to the body physiologically. It can handle that without triggering more desire. If you want to put, one spice like dill in, that's a great one to focus on, but don't complicate it with other things where your palate is going, okay, what are we doing with this? And do I want more?
I like that. That's a great tip.
Yeah, simplicity, the highest form of elegance.
That's the KISS rule, right? Keep it simple, stupid.
That too. Love it.
Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for listening to Kelly and I talk for the last 20 minutes or whatever it's been. If at any point you have questions or you have anything you'd love to hear more about, send us a message. Please share this with your friends, rate it, comment on it. We'll try to get the name out there. It's you guys listening that makes us keep doing this. So thanks for being here. Have a great day.